Good afternoon. Come on, y'all. Mic is on. All right, the August 15th, meeting is called to order. Meeting is called to order.
I'm going to start ejecting people.
The meeting is called to order. All right, we'll have the roll call.
Reverend Gordon,
Here.
Mr. Arnold,
I'm here.
Ms. Banks, Ms. Bell. Here. Mr. Brown,
Here.
Ms. Carter, Ms. Clark. Here. Ms. Friedman. Here. Ms. Harding. Here. Ms. Howe. Ms. Mendoza-Locke. Mr. Knowles. Mr. O'Connor. Ms. Rodriguez. Yes. Mr. Stengel.
Yes.
Major White. Here. Ms. White.
All right, thank you. We will have our recognition of visitors, starting with Richard.
Richard Arnold. Bettina Lason, board staff.
I'm Nabil Shaheen. I'm with the Lewis County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hi there, I'm Carol Conlon, I'm with the Guardianship Services Board.
Lindsay Simzak, Lucas County.
Michael Carter, board staff. Robert Kasperzak, board staff.
Elijah Jones, board staff.
Amy Cobold, Unison Health.
Thank you very much. With determination of the items to be removed from the consent agenda, and I'll read each individual item, beginning with the civil commitment designation, designation of pre-screening, pre-screener and assurance health, Ohio Moss Hospital Access Funds allocation, the Ohio Moss Problem Gambling Funds allocation, the County Suicide Prevention Campaign fiscal year 24, and the late submission of the CY 2022 audit, the health officer designation, the Ohio Moss ARPA capital and community capital grant approval, the legal fees allocation. These are the items to be removed from the consent agenda, including the meeting minutes from June 20th, 2023.
So are any of those, does anybody want any of those removed?
So it's A through G.
It's A through H plus, it's 5, 6A through 6H remain on the consent agenda. If you want one removed, let us know.
All right, so they,
So H and A, I'm having trouble with the bubbles not.
Don't pay attention to the bubbles. The bubbles are screwed up. That's why we read them. Stop looking at the bubbles.
it is all H, A through H.
A through
Okay,
H.
gotcha.
Yes.
Thank you for the clarification.
A through H. Got
We
it.
just caught that a couple hours ago, otherwise I would have said a change.
So moved.
Second.
All right. It's properly moved and second that the items here mentioned will be removed from
No, we'll stay on.
the consent agenda.
Roll
Roll call vote.
Mr. Arnold,
Yes.
Ms. Banks, Ms. Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Friedman,
Yes.
Ms. Harding,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Stengel,
Yes.
Major White,
Yes.
Ms. Carter,
Yes.
One more.
Ms. White,
Say yes.
And did you by any chance call for this board?
No, you're the chair. I'm going to break the tie.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're good then. The next item I want to note before we bring Scott is the open session will be moved up following the director's report. That will be before we go into executive session. All right, the next item would be 333 North Summit sublease approval, and that's it.
Thank you, Pastor. Appreciate it. Okay, let me draw your attention to pages 13 and 14. As you know, we presented this item in front of the Planning and Oversight Committee at our last meeting. We had a good conversation about some of the changes and the issues going on. The vote occurred to approve taking, subleasing the entire floor at the 14th floor of 33 North Summit Street, with an additional amount being applied to our administrative budget for rent at $22,822. We also approved an additional allocation in administrative budget of essentially $79,000 for renovations, legal fees, and associated moving expenses. After that meeting, on August 8th, we got additional information back from the county commissioner's office that the renovation expenses, legal fees, or associated fees, and moving expenses have increased. So with that increase in cost, I pulled it from the consent agenda so that we could just have full transparency on the amount. So if I could just kind of briefly go over it. The new renovation costs, related fees, and moving expenses is estimated to be $90,838. Now, that is the estimate prior to sending the renovation costs out to bid. So there's a potential that could increase. Additionally, we have some potential costs related to technology that is not included in any of the estimates as of yet, because the ITP process is identifying the potential technology needs for that facility, and then we will tell the county what those needs are, and they'll include them in a bid package to get that work done. So there's a modest escalation up to $100,000, which was once $79,000 and change. I felt that we could just do a modest escalation to $100,000, and if it's over that, then I'm obviously going to have to come back to you all for some additional costs. But at this point, we have the latest information. We have the sublease essentially agreed to. All the information that was included by our legal and Mr. Arnold's comments have been included into the sublease agreement. We also have the agreement for renovations, and that is a separate agreement, finalized and ready to sign. Folks, we're at a place now where, with approval of this and receiving the final documents from the county commissioner's attorneys, we're good to go and ready to sign. And then we continue the planning for the logistics on how to move. So I'll stop there. Any questions, concerns, issues? Where we're at.
So Scott, again, just so I'm understanding correctly, we're still option 3.
We are option 3,
It's the
yes.
choice, but it's increasing by 22,000 plus of the expenses.
That is correct.
Which is why we're asking for the,
And one item that I did not mention, but happened after our meeting, is the Guardianship Services Board has chosen not to relocate to that facility. So it is really a matter now of our taking the whole floor or not moving there, because they won't lease a partial floor. So we're really essentially at the same place we were at our last meeting.
Yeah.
Should this read up to $100,000?
Yes. Thank you. So it'd be a modest change in the motion of allocates up to an additional.
So can we take one, both of them together?
Yes, with that change.
So moved.
Is there a motion to?
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Any questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those against?
We got a
Roll.
We have a roll call.
Roll call.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Ms. Bell?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Clark?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Friedman?
Yes.
Ms. Harding?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Stangle?
Yes.
Major White?
Yes.
Ms. Foy?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Now we will have our director's report.
Okay. And now on a related note, we'll have a moving party. Everybody bring your shoes and your boxes, and we'll have pizza, you know,
Make sure you have
pizza
plenty
party.
of leave and absence.
Do we have an anticipated move date by any chance? I know I'm.
We do not, but we are hopeful by the beginning of the new year.
Beginning of the year.
The beginning of the new year.
Oh, wow.
So, thank you, folks. That was a pretty historic vote, so thank you. Okay, hey, we got some fun stuff going on that I just want to touch briefly on. Let you know there are a few things going on this weekend that we'd love to see you all at. First, we're encouraging the board, all of our staff, and all of the agencies that make up our system, and anybody else who wants to join us. We are walking in the Pride Parade on Saturday. And so we'd encourage everybody to put on your favorite logo shirt, represent your, your organization or whoever you want to represent. Staff will be with our board and shirts on and all that fun stuff. But we are meeting on Adams Street between 17th and 20th. They'll stage us there about 10:30. About noon, the parade will start. It will end at Promenade Park, so it's a little less than, I don't know, maybe half a mile, 3/4 of a mile. And then there's activities at Promenade Park that will go on for quite a while. However, prior to that, if you're feeling really, really energetic, there is a 5K walk, African American male wellness walk on Saturday as well. That is at starting at the Warren AME Church. There will be resource tables, and the walk is 5K, so that's 3.1 miles. If you are so inclined, I for one am not inclined, but I will be there in spirit. We're asking everybody to kind of show up and support that as well. And then, from there you can kind of just gravitate to the Pride Walk. So those are two things that are going on this Saturday. Screenings actually start, I believe, at the Wellness Walk at 7:30 in the morning and go until, I think, 3 o'clock or so. Staff will be there, and I'm sure a whole bunch of other folks. So hope to see you all there. Now, also, I'd like you to mark your calendars for our premier event, which is the Recovery is Beautiful free family event. That is Saturday, September 9th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Warner Center. Folks, there'll be 300 to 400 people there. We'll have all kind of activities. There's all kind of opportunities to volunteer, help us set up or monitor activities. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring kids. There'll be last time we had several bounce houses and all that stuff. It's a great time. The Warner Center really helps us out by hosting it, and we hope to see you all there.
Can you repeat those times?
September 9th, 11 to 3 at the Warner Center. We'll be sending out some additional information. You may have seen this very colorful flyer that was at the front office. Feel free to pick one of those up. And if there's any questions, feel free to shoot me a question, or you can contact Robert, our manager of community engagement, or Michael Carter, his director. So those are some fun events that are occurring that we hope to see everybody at. I just also wanted to give you 2 quick updates. We are hopeful to receive the City of Toledo ARPA executed contract, hopefully by the end of this week. But we have, since approving this, we just got all of our paperwork into them for approval early last week, so they've done a really good job of getting this ready and getting this out to us. But in the meantime, between the time you've approved this and the time we'll get this contract, there's been a lot of work. And I just wanted to highlight some of the work that's being done in all of our teams, because everybody's involved in that conversation. The wellness grants, AKA mini grants. We've already identified our first round of recipients, and second round is open right now, but we're just kind of doing rolling applications. We have enough to consider second round, so we're already looking towards the third round. The rapid response team, the treatment locator app, is in process of development. We hope that's done within a few weeks. And Amy has scheduled the training for the rapid response team, building on a model that we've used, the NOVA model. And what does NOVA stand for?
National Office of Victims Assistance.
So it's a evidence-based model for these types of responses. Our community has been trained on that before. There's a core group of people that have received this training. We're going to add to that core group and then develop our response team from there. Our budgets have been set with the Northwest Ohio Parents of Murdered Children, and we are in continued conversations with Good Grief for additional support groups within Toledo Public Schools, within a couple of the Toledo Public Schools. We've come to agreement on with Family and Child Abuse Prevention Center regarding enhanced treatment services for victims of domestic violence. And we are finalizing budgets and service descriptions before the MOAs can go out for all the Latinx services. So there were 6 areas. Danny's Place is the final area, and the quick update on that is we are somebody now. We actually have an address, 2333 Arlington. And so that's a pretty big deal, because now that opens the door to finish off all the other applications and lease and all that stuff. We have our legal description. We're just waiting on the final lease back from the state. We have our hearing in front of City Council's zoning committee tomorrow. Our hearing in front of the zoning commission went very well. It's being recommended. We don't expect any issues, but we will not take anything for granted. We will be there. We will do our presentation, and we look forward to affirmative response from that group tomorrow as well. So we're off and running with that, and finalizing design, drawings, and we're submitting documents to the city for final review for like electrical and sewer and building code, all that kind of stuff is starting to take shape right now. And finally, as I move away from ARPA, believe it or not, it is time to start thinking about our 2024 levy campaign. And if we want to move a campaign in May, we need to consider what that looks like now. So I will be asking the Executive and Nominating Committee to convene a meeting on September 12th to discuss the potential of a levy campaign and the necessity of that campaign. I may also tuck in a few personnel-related matters that we want to clean up, but the gist of that will be our initial kickoff for discussions on levy campaign. If all goes well and you all decide that that's something we want to do, then we will reconvene the Citizens for Mental Health PAC, and we will begin those meetings and start to plan for whatever it is you all decide we're going to do. Obviously, the first discussion is what the need is, and what the renewal amount would look like versus a increase versus a replacement, and we'll try and get some of that information in advance to help make that decision. And what we learned in the 22 campaign when we ran in May was if we wait any longer to September, we really start to get behind on making those decisions and getting the information to the places it needs to be, because it really becomes a very short window once you start hitting October and November. So that is something that we'll be doing, and I'm done there, so any questions would be great.
I'm new, so when you decide if we should put to go for the levy or whatever, is there, because you can't use taxpayers' money for that, so is there a certain fund, or how does that work?
So I'm gonna make a slight correction.
You can't.
We can't.
You can't, okay.
You can't.
Okay.
We can.
Okay.
There is a Ohio Attorney General's opinion that has interpreted the clause in our authorizing legislation that makes us responsible to develop resources, financial resources, that we can use our financial resources to fund levy campaigns.
Got it, okay.
I believe we may be the only entity that can actually do that.
Yeah, so no Metro Park person.
Right. So along with that consideration is usually a resolution of providing funds from this board to the Citizens for Mental Health PAC.
Got it.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
What's the status of soliciting private contributions for Danny's Place?
There was was a private
meeting today.
was a meeting today,
Okay.
and I'll let them decide that.
Tim and I have been working on this and whatnot. We wanted to get through the summer because it seemed like everybody was really busy and gone. And so let's see, Erica has said yes, Bettina said yes. Nima, you said yes? Yes to what? To being on the committee.
Just say yes, Neva.
I say yes. To be on the committee, anybody who wants to help do it, to help fundraise is obviously more than welcome to come. I'm going to be sending out a doodle to line up our first meeting to find out what would be a good time and whatnot, and what date and time would be good. We're hoping to have it the second week of September at some point to kick it off and move forward. And we're looking at some different ideas. One is, actually three, bricks, benches, and swings that could be put through the property. And then Scott is working with the architects and all the design people to figure out how, do we want to put the bricks in the walkway leading up, all that good stuff is yet to be determined. There's going to be a wall inside of Danny's Place where donors will be recognized at their different levels. We came to an agreement to that, in fact, this afternoon, that would be probably the best way to do it versus having like the wings and the door and each room named and all this, just to recognize everybody on the plaque. And like I said, we're going to hit the ground running after our September meeting, I'm sure, and move forward. Would you like to be a part of it, Mr. Arnold?
No, I don't need to be a part of it.
You knew I had to ask him, right?
That's right. But just, and I know you, just keep in mind that a lot of people are going to want to make it before the end of the year.
Right. Yeah.
Make a contribution this year.
So we're at about 10.4 million secured right now.
And what's the budget total?
So we were hoping for 10.7, and of course, without the construction manager selected and putting the product out to bid, we don't know the true cost yet. But we think we're in the ballpark. We'll know once, we're weeks away from selecting the construction manager, but you know,
Great.
once that happens, then we'll really have a better understanding of the true cost. And then we might have to scale back a little bit. So,
Or get these guys to raise more money?
or I'll start
They're up
making
to it.
more phone calls. So that's pretty exciting that we've seen this much progress really
That
to
is
Danny's
good.
Place.
Any other questions for Scott? All right, so we're going into open session now. All right, Richard?
This morning, County Commissioners, they talked about a number of changes in downtown Toledo. Mannix Smith will get the professional services for tearing down the old child study institute that's been talked about for years. But the big topic of conversation, Met Toledo will get the contract to do the feasibility study on the proposed downtown amphitheater. They say they'll talk to all the businesses that will be affected, answer their questions, hopefully, and then come back to the county commissioners with some recommendations on that. And it will certainly change downtown. They're talking about 3,500 seats, but they're going to start on that. Next tomorrow, Danny's Place will be heard at the zoning and planning meeting at 4 p.m. I was a little concerned because City Council has another meeting at 2 p.m. And they're usually kind of grouchy and cranky by the end of the day. And they have 16 items on the agenda for zoning and planning. But I see by the agenda that Danny's Place will be number 4. So it was approved last month at zoning and planning. Now it's going to go to city council. I don't see any problems there. And I just got to mention this. Item number 3 is going to be the very first ever Cat Cafe in downtown Toledo. Downtown Cats at 618 Adams, just down the street. They will be opening a cat cafe. We have them in Bowling Green, Ann Arbor, Detroit, so not to be uptight. We're going to get our first cat cafe. And it's a cafe, which has another section where if you want to, you can go, and they have shelter cats. They have a room for older cats, they have a room for kittens, they have a litter room, you got a couple litter rooms. And you can decide if you want to adopt one of these cats or kittens. They made it very clear in the proposal that the area where they have the cats is totally separate from the area where they serve the food. When they're serving food, just cats are not salad. You get a very angry letter from the customer. And I just want to share one piece of history. As you get ready to move, hopefully we won't run into what happened to the county commissioners years ago. I believe it was 1977, the county commissioners were looking to relocate the Department of Developmental Disabilities. They found 2001 Collingwood, great price, and they later found out why. It was radioactive. There have been doctors' offices in there, and they left behind some radioactive materials, which has been emitting rays for years. So at great cost to the county, they had to send in a, hazmat decontamination team and hopefully clean it up. But they didn't move into it, and we're there for years. Hopefully you will have that covered.
I'm sure that's potential to break our lease or something. Lindsay, make sure if it turns up radioactive.
Richard, I always look forward to your comments.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you. Are there any others? All right, we will need a motion and second and roll call vote. Yes.
Oh, yeah, Can I say something super quick
Yes, please.
in open session? On behalf of the Lucas County Guardianship Services Board, I just wanted to, as their executive director, wish you all the very best on your move. There's absolutely no reason we're not moving, except we're just so young and we've only been in operation for a few years. So for any of you who've been so sweet to inquire, are we okay? Yes, we are. We just need more funding. And where are we going to go? Well, at the moment, we're going to stay right here, and we're working on that next step as soon as we can. But if there was any doubt that we are not taking our fiscal responsibility seriously, this was a big, big move to pass up. So we just had to do what was right for us, being so young and so small. But we are thrilled for you, and I can't wait to visit the new space. So thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, anyone else? Okay, so we will receive a motion and second, followed by roll call vote to go into executive session for a legal matter.
I move that we go into executive session to discuss an impending legal matter.
Second.
Thank you.
Mr. Arnold?
Abstain?
Ms. Banks?
Yes.
Ms. Bell?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Clark?
Yes.
Ms. Friedman?
Yes?
Ms. Harding?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Stengel?
Yes.
Major White?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Okay, folks, we're going to be in executive session. When we emerge, we don't anticipate any additional decisions being made. So you're welcome to stay in the lobby area if you want, but once we emerge, we will likely adjourn the meeting immediately thereafter.